Okay, I know a lot of you are like, okay, what's going on with Lindsey Graham, and I'll get back to that. Or what's going on with Bunnie and JellyRoll. What's going on in the world, period. Um, but I actually wanted to talk about my daughter Mariah Archibeque's book. It's very important that I get that out because it means the world to me and my family. Um, I um I know people are gonna say, "Well, you're just so messy. Why can't you just fix things, right?" Um, it's called The End of the Rose, and our daughter Mariah wrote it while she was being sick with Ewing sarcoma cancer. She was 19 years old when she passed away on August 12th, 2024. Um, she was diagnosed when she was 17, a few days after her 17th birthday, um, in May of 2022. Um, this book means a lot to me and our family, and it meant so much to her because while she was sick, she wrote it. Even when her hands were hurting and she was typing on her Chromebook, and she had to wear arthritis gloves for her hands, those really thin gloves that are soft. Um, she put a lot of her heart and soul into this book, and um, she wrote it because of what she had went through and what the that so many other people have gone through themselves or still going through. She was ridiculed in school, made fun of. She was threatened in school. Um, she was made fun of by the way she walked and talked and dressed. Um, what color her skin was. I mean, you know, these girls were just so vicious to her. And I know some people talk about, how people that are black and brown, they get made fun of. But it could be vice versa too. It happens either way in different cultures. Um, and these girls were like, you're not Spanish, you're too white. Well, she said, you guys are stupid because I'm multicultural, stupid, you know. And there are people that are multicultural. You don't realize that, you just assume somebody's all white, and when they're, just because of the color of their skin, you assume like they're like German or French or there's people that are white that are Italian. I mean, there's black and brown in every culture, that there is. Black and brown is not a culture, it's a color. So is white. And people need to stop associating black and brown as being a culture. Because, like I said, there are black and brown and white people all over the world, and they have different cultures that people get stereotyped by. And you probably think, yeah, she's fully white, she's probably hillbilly, this and that, and she doesn't know what she's talking about. And just because I look a certain way doesn't mean that's what my culture is. Because like I said, some girls were so mean to our daughter that she didn't want to go back to school after COVID. If COVID's still around, don't people fool you. It still is. People in hospitals are dying of it, and there's people dying of different types of stuff. And it just makes me so angry that how mean some of these girls were to our daughter. Mariah, she was so beautiful. There's a picture of her in her book, It's a dedication page to her. And oops. I'm trying to get this right. That's her. And girls made fun of her. And you know what? She was beautiful. She still is. And she kind of looks like the cover on the book that our son Stephen drew himself, and his name is on the book. He is, he is the illustrator on the book. See? And if you look closely at this, there's actually his initials over here where he signed on the drawing that he did. And there's another picture at the wallpaper we got that's not our doing. We didn't design it. Our son Steven didn't design it. It was something that was picked through Zedge because we liked the design that somebody did. And Mariah loved roses and she loved hearts. She loved butterflies. And she has a quote in here that says, "It's okay to be different because our differences are what make us who we are." And when she was made fun of and threatened, she was threatened in middle school because of a boy. These two girls, like the same boy, one was dumped by him and then he ended up dating her other friend. And she didn't want to stop being friends with either girl. But one of the girls threatened her because she wouldn't stop being friends with that other girl. Mariah was caught in the middle. And this other girl who got dumped, she threatened our daughter. And she was in 8th grade. When she went into high school, it got even worse. Mariah was a laid back person. She didn't reveal her skin so much. She was very casual. She loved wearing hoodies. She liked wearing shirts that didn't reveal so much. She was just casual, Yeah, and times she did dress up, for family functions or something that was important. And it makes me and my husband very angry that she was treated this way. And in any kid that's treated so badly, no matter where they come from, they shouldn't be treated so badly. All because they're different, they look different, color skin is different, they act a certain way. And that's one of the reasons why I love her book, is because when you read it, it's like, wow, this person went through so much in this book. Carl Anika Medianoche is what she named her character in this book, also called Lady Midnight. Talks about how she was going to be a queen. She became a queen at 19 years old. She thought she could trust these girls, and they basically took her life. They basically stabbed her, and this is why I say it's not a kid. It's really not a little kid's book. It's more like when you get older, And they went in there because they were jealous of her, and they took this young girl's life because this other girl, the prince that Carl Anika Medianoche was supposed to marry, and things went crazy from there. And that's one of the reasons why Mariah put that in the book, is because she was caught in the middle. And I did meet this boy, me and my husband did, and we didn't really like him because, yeah, he was young, but it's I don't think he understood that he was playing these two girls, and he was trying to play Mariah. Mariah brought him home one day and she was like, "Well, can he come in?" I was like, "No." I don't know. I just felt, when you're parents and you feel a certain something in your gut, you shouldn't trust this person. They're going to hurt your child. That's the way I felt. And I told her no. I didn't want her to get hurt. And when she went into high school, these girls were telling her she doesn't look Spanish because she's white. Well, Spanish people from Spain, some of them are white, by the way. Their skin tone is white. They're not all brown. Depends on the side of the equator you live on. It's a known fact. Hello. Um, and also your blood. I mean, you don't know what your child's going to come out looking like. You really don't. Just because you assume they're going to look just like you, same color and stuff, doesn't mean they're going to come out that color. I mean, come on. It's known to that too. But when I was sick, I think the reason why she wrote about Carolina Medianoche being 19 when she lost her life is because I think Mariah in some ways knew she was going to be gone. And I think that's why she wrote it. Or she didn't know. I mean, there were times she said, Mom, with all the pain I'm going through, I just don't want to be here anymore. I don't want to suffer anymore. And even though we wanted her so badly to be here, I told Mariah, if you ever need to go, it's okay. Because we still love you, We'll always be family. You'll always be our daughter. You'll always be your brothers and your baby sister's sister, You'll always be a niece, a granddaughter, a cousin, a friend. But she's like, Mom, I'm going to keep fighting. And I'm going to prove those doctors wrong because they are wrong. And I'm going to show them that I'm going to live. And unfortunately, after her 19th birthday, 2 months after, she passed away. And she was pushed into doing pediatrics hospice and she didn't want to do it. And her death was not comfortable. I'm going to be honest, she had a horrible death. And I think she feared that. And I think that's why she wrote this book. But also to let people know that whatever they're going through, this book is for them. Because she wanted to inspire them and let them know they're not alone. And there's also, besides a picture of her, there's also acknowledgments to me and my family. She wrote, my mom actually gave her the idea to write her feelings down, and instead of writing her feelings like, today this is how I feel, she wrote a book. And Make-A-Wish helped her dream come true by finding her this lady to edit her book. And City Book Publishing was happy to publish her book. They even put her book out there more. I asked them last year if they would do that, and they did. They were like, yeah, we're happy to do that. We just didn't know you wanted to do that, because through Make-A-Wish, you can only be granted so much, and Mariah wanted her book in hardback, and Make-A-Wish said it was going to cost more money. But her wish was to have this hardback. And I said, wouldn't it be cool to put like a chain that had a rose on it? And it said the end of the rose on it. Or had Mariah the end of the rose. And she said that would be cool, to have it attached on the front of the book. Kind of like the Never Ending Story kind of idea, but you can take that chain off and put it back on the book. Never got a chance to do that. And then she was writing the second book to this one, The End of the Rose 2. There's also 4 chapters that she only got to finish. She didn't finish the rest of it. But our older son, Steven, knows what Mariah liked and how she wanted it, and he's thinking of continuing on with a book series, because he's been writing himself last couple of years of his own books. He likes horror books, but he loves to draw. And that painting back there is Mariah's. Of course, we have our younger son's artwork, and of course, me. I drew our older son when he was a baby. Yes, I'm taking art classes. I finished my first term, and I'm going back in the fall. I'm trying to get my illustrations degree, my associate's illustrations degree, and I only take 2 classes at once because taking 4 is just so overwhelming. And eventually, when I get used to what I'm doing, I'm going to probably take 3 more classes. Not added on to the 2 I'm taking next fall, but 3 the following year maybe. But I was happy that I finished my fall and spring terms. My classes, I busted my ass, and some people would say, well, you're too old to go back to school. Well, there's plenty of people my age that are going back to school, and it doesn't matter what age you are. When you want to go back to school, go back to school. I'm all for it. Mariah even said that if I ever went back to school, she would want to go to college with me, and we would share the dorm together. It's so hard. I only got up to the 9th chapter, and I'm having a hard time getting to the 10th because I just don't want it to be over. But it's a book, you can read it over and over again. And that's how good this book is. I'm just waiting for a chance to read the rest of it and be like, I know what the ending is. With everything going on in the world, it's pretty sad that, these kids have to suffer in pain, and there's not enough funding for them. And even though some people think, yeah, kids have enough funding in pediatrics, they don't. Why do they always ask for donations? I mean, there were kids that didn't even have pain medicine or enough chemo medicine or whatever medicines they may be. Pediatrics actually gets 1% of funding. 1%. If you look on WWE, have you noticed that Make-A-Wish isn't really on there? You don't see those kids hardly. They say they're helping them. Have you noticed that Connor's Wish, or is not on there anymore? Have you noticed that? Because I bet you the families of Connor took it off because they're like, we don't want to associate our son's memory with this garbage. You want to be involved with Donnie Dick Twat? I don't care what I call him. People can get upset. I don't care. I am not going to stand for or stand by somebody that's hurt children and took their lives. Who knows how many lives were taken by him and Jeffrey Epstein. That's another story in itself. And I'm not all about discriminating against other people because of who they are, what they were born as. Donnie Dick Twat took away rights for the LGBTQ community. It's like, they've been around for centuries. Does he realize that? Do your research. Okay? They're born that way. They cannot change who they are. Okay? They can't change what they're born as. What I mean is, just because they look like something on the outside doesn't mean that's who they are on the inside. Life is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. That's the same way with people. And they're human beings. And me and my husband have a couple family members that are part of those communities, and it's like they're kids. You know, some of them are really young. And I'm not for little kids having surgery. I'm not all for that. You know, parents who are for their kids to have surgery when they're very young, I don't agree with at all. But when they reach a certain age where they're like, hey, I'm 18, I want to do this, it's like, okay, that's your final decision. But this is going to be permanent. You do know that. And to me, it's like showing who they truly are. You know, like you can tell. I mean, but one person I would have to say that taught me about um, the LGBTQ community was RuPaul. Because when I saw RuPaul on TV, I was like, wow, she's really pretty, gorgeous. I remember watching the RuPaul Drag Queen race with our daughter Mariah. She loved watching that, and one of her favorite drag queens was RuPaul, and Miss Vanjie. I don't know. I would love to talk to Miss Vanjie. I'd be like, our daughter likes you so much, and you always made her laugh, and even when she was sick. And RuPaul did that too. But I learned a great deal from RuPaul just by watching, because I was like trying to figure things out. Like, okay, what are these people about? Because when I was a kid and people talked about like being gay, it was wrong. And I was like, why? Like, what do you mean? Like, what is so wrong about it? And the older I got, I was like, there still is nothing wrong with it. And I learned a great deal from this one transgender. She was on the Orange is the New Black. And I saw her acting on there, and I was like, wow, she's really pretty, And then I found out about her, and I was like, wow, she's an amazing actress. I just, as long as they're doing good things in life, why judge people? As long as they're not hating on other people, why judge them? And that's one of the things I learned about watching different types of people, because it's okay to be different. It's okay to be yourself. And I always taught that to our kids, me and my husband do, because life is too short to be treating people like shit. And if you keep treating people like shit, eventually you're going to be alone. And there's a family member that's very young and our family, and she's transgender. I'm not going to name her name because she's so young. And she's taught me a lot. Like, I see her and I'm like, wow, she's beautiful. And you got to be accepting to that, because if you're not, you must be a really hateful person and really ignorant to not realize that the LGBTQ community has been around for centuries. I mean, if you look in past artwork, like Donatello, his artwork looks feminine. It really does. I mean, maybe he was trying to say something, Like, his artwork was pretty cool, but, again, back to Mariah's book, that's why she wrote it, for anybody. Anybody can read it. She's not pointing people out in any way. It's like, when you read it, you're like, I can relate to these characters. And it makes you think, like, what's going on in this book? I want to read more and more and more. I want more. And that's amazing how Mariah wrote this book, because there have been people that have bought this book that told me and my husband, like, wow, your daughter wrote this. Like, it's a really good book. And it's about a peculiar young girl decided to venture into a forest on a soulless night when all things were broken and not found. Near a river, she discovers a magical aura surrounding a mysterious abandoned cottage. She leaves the forest and returns home, but she plans to go back to the forest another time. She returns to her royal kingdom and is ostracized because she is different from the other children. But even the purest hearts can be darkened, even the light within them turn into something evil, maybe even a creature so powerful you'll never sleep again. This is where the story begins. And I have read this book in other videos, if you want to look back on my videos, which are The End of the Rose by Mariah Archibeque. And you listen to me read about it, and I get up to the 8th chapter, and I was going to read the 9th chapter today. But there's some other things that I need to bring up besides this beautiful book. That, there's even a picture of Mariah at the end, and she talks about herself. She said, "Hello, my name is Mariah Archibeque, and I have been writing my own stories for as long as I can remember. This book is the only one I dreamed about getting published, mainly because some of them are unfinished or scrapped. I was inspired to write this story partially based on my life. Growing up, I was picked on, and I had no idea how to deal with it. But that was until people told me that I am strong, independent young woman. I'm 19 years old, and the story holds a special place in my heart. One of the quotes I came up with that reminds me of the story is, 'You can't change a butterfly into something ugly.' In other words, you shouldn't be something you are not. The story reminds me of one of the main characters in this book, which would be none other than Kia Lansky. In conclusion, the story is something I am very proud of writing and one that I admire." And that was her. She was, she was about 15. She was 15 years old. I miss her every day. We all do. So I recommend people reading this book, and if you're ever feeling lost and alone, sad, or you feel like, hey, nobody understands you, this would be a good book to read, because it's for everybody, like I said, because Mariah wanted everybody to read it. Doesn't matter what culture you're from, what color you are. Doesn't matter if you're part of the LGBTQ community. It doesn't matter, as long as you like to read. And stop spreading hate on people. And the only people that need to be hated on are the ones that are hating on other people. And that is the one in the White House. That's another thing I want to talk about. I love Mariah so much. I miss her. In the middle of the book, there's a rose. Because it says, "The end of the rose." And it has a rose in the middle. Illustrated by Stephen Archibeque. Written by Mariah. And this is copyrighted, so nobody can copyright her book. So it's copyright by Mariah Archibeque. Meaning, we own the rights to this book. So if anybody wanted to make a movie out of it, they would have to ask us. We own the rights to it. And anybody who's selling it on eBay needs to realize something. You don't own the rights to that book. Walmart doesn't own the rights to this book. Amazon doesn't own the rights to this book. Barnes & Noble doesn't own the rights to this book. They're all selling Mariah's book at different prices, even all over the world. They're selling Mariah's book. And I'm talking like in other countries. And it'd be cool to get Mariah's book inside the stores. if there's a way people can do that, like say, hey, there's this girl, she was 19, her name's Mariah Archibeque, she wrote a book called The End of the Rose before she passed away. And she died really young, and she wrote this book for everybody and let them know that they're not alone. Now, I don't want this in Trumpkin's hands because he's one douchebag I do not want touching this book. If he ever gets a hold of this book and he claims it's his, just so you know, it's not his. We also have plenty of copies here at home. We're selling them too, but it's a lot easier for other people that want to order it like right away. You can get it online through Amazon, Barnes & Noble, eBay, Walmart, all over the world. Even in the UK, they have it. And, it's cool to see Mariah's book in different countries, but it's just like when I see it on eBay and it's like $40, really? You're going to charge that much up the ass for this book? Me, I recommend $20 at least, or 15. 15 would be great, There's even some books that were put into Union Pediatrics Hospital specialties for people to get to buy, because that's where she was at the hospital at a lot. And they do a lot of great things for kids. I mean, they have Child Life. They get donations for books, clothes, toys, movies, video games for kids to play, DVDs for kids to watch movies on. They even do stuff for like holidays. But that's through all donations. And then there's the Cancer Fund where they help families, with like gift cards for gas or, take their kids out to eat or get the kids a snack. They even have toys in the Cancer Fund or different things, And one of the last things I got Mariah was Miss Piggy. She was a little Miss Piggy stuffed plush. I wanted her to get it so bad because I love Miss Piggy. I mean, if I ever met Miss Piggy, I'd be like, wow, you're like my icon. I love the Muppets. Miss Piggy is my top Muppet. Mariah loved watching the Muppets. And so did our son Steven, and she loved watching Muppets Mayhem. Her favorite was Janice, and she kind of reminds me of Mariah a lot. The way she talks, You saw the episode where she's allergic to liars, Janice is, and from the Muppets, and she went like this, and she ended up in a coma, and when somebody stopped lying, she rose right up, and that was kind of like Mariah, she'd rise up and be like, what'd you say? Like, okay, this type of person, she was. On her book, it does say City of Books. Yeah, City of Books. That's where it was published from. And see, there's so much you can read in this book. There's also a picture that Stephen drew of what Caronica Medianoche ended up looking like. And I believe it's between the end of the 5th chapter and the beginning of the 6th. So he drew that. I mean, it's almost like, Seth MacFarlane cartoons, but he drew that, and he just has so much talent for drawing. All of his do, and I should have added more into this book, so some of these pages just being empty. It's like a waste of a page, Should have added more to it. I couldn't think at the time what to add to it. I would have added at least more pictures of Mariah, people would see when she was a baby, stuff like that, but she wanted her graduation picture in it because she graduated in 2023. Well, we took her to her graduation and she was in a wheelchair. And graduation was horrible. It was raining, and then everybody went to the gym. There wasn't that many seats. It was loud. The kids were obnoxious. And her and these other kids, one other kid was in a wheelchair, like her, and this other kid, he had Down syndrome, and this kid with Down syndrome, the noise was so much for him, he was laying on the ground, and the teachers wouldn't do nothing for him. And he was before Mariah, before her name was called. And it angered me and my husband, because you could see this picture of Mariah and she looked so mad. Like her hair was like kind of messed up. In fact, she was wearing a wig that day. And you can't even tell. I mean, there's so many people that wear wigs nowadays. It's like, who cares? I mean, they even have like hair extensions, stuff like that. I should wear a wig because instead of dyeing your hair, you should wear a wig. Anyways, there's other subjects I wanted to talk about besides our daughter's book. One of the other things was about Lindsey Graham. I heard he passed away. I don't give a damn. I really don't. Anybody associated with Trumpkin, I wouldn't even care if he passed away. Some people are like, oh, you're so heartless. I don't care. If you're going to treat people like crap and have their lives ruined, taking their lives, taking their homes, taking stuff to help people with illnesses and everything else, deporting them, putting them in cages, just abusing them. And then bombing countries that didn't do nothing to us. And then harass people. It's like, you expect me to feel sorry for those people that are associated with Trumpkin, No, I don't. I don't give a damn. And why should we care? I don't even care that Charlie Kirk died. I really don't care. I mean, Erica Kirk, she's such a liar. She expects everybody to feel sympathy for her. And I don't feel sympathy for somebody that wanted to have the homeless exterminated and the LGBTQ community, and hate on people because of the color of skin, they look like, stuff like that. And it's okay to murder innocent people, right? It's okay. No, I don't feel sorry for Charlie Kirk either. I don't feel sorry for anybody that is hateful and hurtful, wants to destroy people's lives for no freaking reason. So, all those who say we should have sympathy because Lindsey Graham was like a senator or whatever the hell he was, I wouldn't even feel sorry if Trumpkin died. Like, if he dropped dead, I wouldn't care. And some people are going to give me bad comments. I don't care. I'll probably get comments up the yin yang for it. But there are more people that would agree with me than those that would hate on me. Because those people that are maggots, get your heads out of your ass and realize that the world doesn't revolve around your orange master. And that those people that are religious and that are standing next to him and they discriminate against the LGBTQ community. See, I'm not part of that community. But I guess in a way, when you have family members that are, it's like you are part of that. Because when you love people, no matter who they are, I guess it makes you part of that. And they're people. And it doesn't matter what color of skin. It doesn't matter what culture. We got LGBTQ communities everywhere. And it's all over the world. And they're the ones that get harassed and humiliated and ridiculed, just like people with disabilities and illnesses. Those are the communities that get left behind, and they shouldn't. And I think the reason why I'm so passionate about not hating on people is because I've been hated on when I was a kid. I was made fun of. And I'm not smart. I don't know everything. Who does? But what I do know is when you show somebody compassion, no matter where they come from, what they look like, who they are, it makes a lot better world for you. And I'm not talking like, oh yeah, I'm gonna lie and act like I'm their friends or, I'm gonna steal stuff from them. No, it's about being a good person, not being hateful, not stealing, not cheating, not harassing, not killing, not abusing. Maybe it's because I've been there myself and I've seen our kids be made fun of. I mean, we have a son that gets made fun of a lot in school, and he's in elementary school, and they make fun of him because he's either too skinny, he looks too white, he doesn't look like them. And then when I see these kids, I'm like, tell our younger son, like, have you seen those kids? I mean, some of them are kind of ugly. I mean, have you seen your parents? The apple don't fall far from the tree. So why are they making fun of you? Because their parents treat them like that? They're being made fun of at home? And then some of the parents are like, wow, your kid's doing this. Well, your kid's doing that. Well, what the hell is your kid doing? Some people are all for, mediation and stuff like that. That can only go so far. But when that kid keeps picking on your kid over and over again, that's when you say to your kid, they hit you first, you have every right to hit them back. You have every right to defend yourself. And if the parents come in and their kid's the one that's picking on your kid, then you have the right as a parent to say, hey, your kid wants to pick on our kid constantly and you're not doing nothing about it and you're all for it. Well, I think we're going to have to take your ass to court. Or either that, we're going to take it old school. And I know what people think when I say that. I know they know what I mean by old school. Because in old school, you pick on somebody, they would wait for you after school and then kick your butt. But see, this isn't just about kids being picked on by other kids. The fact that their parents don't do shit about it. Their family members don't do shit about it. They're like, oh yeah, we're all for you making fun of these kids because of what they look like, who they are, because they're not smart like you. Well, see, those people that have kids that pick on other kids, they're the dumb ones. They're just jealous of what those other kids have and what they're about. And that's what we tell our younger son about. Even our youngest daughter has been made fun of by a family member, not on my side. And I'm not going to name names because if I name her name, then the whole world will know. Let's just say this. I've said it on Facebook. Yes, I have a Facebook. I also have an Instagram. But I don't advertise those on here, but I do have a Facebook page and I do have Instagram. And I don't add too many people because if I don't know you, I'm sorry. I'm not just going to add somebody on my Facebook. I'm not going to just add somebody on my Instagram. Unless, if there's a lot of scammers out there, and this is where it goes to scamming about the whole Lindsey Graham thing. I've had enough of that. I don't even want to talk about him. I don't even want to mention his name anymore. Trumpkin, I don't care. I don't want to mention his name anymore. He's not my president. People need to stop calling him our president. Okay? Kamala Harris is our president. Start saying President Kamala Harris, not President Donnie Dickwad. Okay? We've been scammed so many times. like on Facebook Marketplace. We were trying to look for a car, a used car. And this woman claimed that she was friends with my husband's aunt. She scammed us out of $2,000. That was 2 years ago. Still angry about it because that was the only money we had at the moment to get another car. We had another car, a used car, but we had to sell it because it wasn't working right. This was after our daughter Mariah died. Well, this woman took advantage of that whole situation, knowing our daughter died, knowing other things. And I still have a picture of her. I would show it to you. Maybe I should show you a picture of her, what she looks like. Maybe you guys have been scammed by her too. Then on WhatsApp, the whole Ellen DeGeneres thing where they say, oh, you want a car? It's a scam. They scammed us out of $3,000 there. Basically, we've been scammed a few times. And, going through losing a child, it's hard and you don't think clearly. And anybody that's lost a child and they love their child so damn much, because there's some parents out there that are cruel and mean and disgusting and don't deserve their title as parents. And when you love your children so much, and one of them has their life taken because of tragedy, it could be a tragedy. Losing your child is devastating. Whether they're killed, whether they're lost of a disease, or, but in a way they kind of coincide with each other. The reason why I say that is our daughter Mariah's oncology pediatrics doctor said there's no cure for Ewing sarcoma cancer. The only reason is because there's not enough funding. Now, isn't that like killing them because there's not enough money to help find a cure? I mean, you're just letting them die? You're basically killing them. So our daughter Mariah's gone. Our son's sister is gone. Our baby daughter's sister is gone. Our parents' granddaughter is gone. Our nieces and nephews' cousin is gone. Mariah's friend's friend is gone. It goes on and on and on. Because there's a lot of people in the same situation as us. And there's a lot of people that take advantage of that and say, oh, yeah, I'm going to help you. Yeah. I have this car for $2,000 and I'll sell it to you. I'll bring it to you. That sort of crap. Or, yeah, you want a car and I'll bring it to you. Don't fall for that crap. We deleted WhatsApp. It's full of crap. And you know who's run by? Yeah, Elon Musk. So all those people that have WhatsApp, you're basically kind of screwed. These people get on there and they claim that they're part of FedEx and they lie and they send these pictures making it look like, oh yeah, this is them. I can do a picture and say it's me and some people will believe it. Because of the situation that they're in, they're so tired and exhausted and they're lost and confused and they're like, hey, this is the only outlet I have right now to help me. It's funny, they have more funding for ICE than they do other funding that needs to be funded, like cancer research for children and adults, Alzheimer's, AIDS, dementia, lupus, etc. Chronic fatigue syndrome. I mean, there's so many diseases out there, arthritis. How come there's no cure for arthritis and people have known about it for years? How come there's no cure for AIDS? People have known about it for years. How come there's no cure for lupus or dementia or Alzheimer's? Ewing sarcoma cancer doesn't get talked about much. So there's more diseases out there that I can't name because, there's so many. And guess who got rid of the World Health Organization to help fight cures? Oh, yes, the little maggot freaking freak of nature who's fatter than fat that every time he walks, the earth shakes. And we're all throwing up and getting dizzy. You know when the earth spins really fast? That's because of him turning around. He just turns around one time and then we're like those bottle caps that you throw on the floor and they spin, or whatever you call those spinner things. But anyways, another thing I wanted to bring up was Bunnie and JellyRoll. And I know, me and my husband listen to his music. He's got good music, but I don't know if he is, him and his ex-wife, what they went through and why, the reasons why, it's none of my business. But when you're on the public eye like JellyRoll has been in the last few years, and you see their marriage was so happy, and then all of a sudden it's like boom, he gets so big. And then you see him hugging Trumpkin. He was hugging him. He was actually like shaking his hand. It's like, dude, do you realize you shook the hand of somebody that abused children? Possibly had them killed too. Who knows? Who knows what's in those Epstein files? Must be really bad if he's trying to hide behind people and people don't want to show the proof, like Pam Bondi, freaking freak of nature that she is. She's been brainwashed, programmed since she was a kid. If you look at past pictures of him, she's in them. Then his wife is programmed. You notice she's like, and today, she's like saying everything he's brainwashed her to say. Now, if you want to deprogram her, I'm sure there's people that can do that when she's by herself. I guarantee you she would be screaming about everything like a bird. She'd be like a parrot opening their mouth like, rah, 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 rah. I got all the info here. He's trying to keep her close. He's trying to keep other people close to him so they don't admit what's on those damn files. And then some people are like, well, the Democrats, if some Democrat was on the files, they would be for them still. Kiss my ass. Wasn't Clinton on those? Bill Gates? I know he's probably not a Democrat, but you know what I mean. People trusted him. People trusted him to put computers into schools for kids. And he's on the Epstein files, and he's friends with Trumpkin. They didn't suddenly become friends. These people have been friends with him for years. So close. They don't let outsiders in unless you've been part of the Epstein files. I'm telling you. If you're not in them, you're not a part of it. And who did they say was in the Epstein files? Wait, was that Joe Biden? Was that our president? A real president? That was before Trump can cheat his way again? Barack Obama? Wasn't he our other president? Real president? And who was supposed to be the real president now? And all you people that are maggots are fucking brainwashed too. So get your head out of his ass. Oh, wait, you can't. Because you expect him to help you pay for your bills and do everything for you, right? Get your family member out of prison. Oh, like Nicki Minaj. She was holding his hand like a scared little kid. Like, yay. We're going to play Ring Around the Rosie. Yay. Red Rover, send my family out of prison. That's not going to happen, Nicki Minaj, because your music sucks, for one. She can't rap worth a crap. I understand why Cardi B is the way she is. You know, I gotta give my props to Cardi B. You know, I don't really listen to her music, but I gotta give the woman props. I mean, she did something in honor of Selena. She doesn't have nothing bad in her background. She stays true to her true self. I mean, yes, she kind of does things kind of funny. I mean, she went on a farm with high heels. It was kind of funny. I would have went on a farm like that. I mean, I'm not a farmer either, but she was trying. You know, she's a good mom. And all these people that want to criticize her for not allowing her child or children to listen to her music, I don't blame her. I mean, do you think Tupac would want his own kids if he was still here? Because some people think he is. He's not. Do you think he would have wanted his child to listen to his music? Some of it, yes. Some of it, no. I mean, do you think Eminem? Do you think he wants his grandson listening to some of his music that has cuss words in it? That's up to him. That's up to his daughter herself. You know, I've seen his grandson. He's really cute. Kind of looks like him. Um, but still, she gets knocked so much. It's like, is it because she's pretty? Is that it? She is pretty. And when Nicki Minaj is talking crap about her daughter, you don't talk about kids, okay? When you look like a damn Muppet on crack, okay, Nicki Minaj, you look like a Muppet inside out.
With an orange hand up her ass.
With an orange hand up your ass.
Or should I say up her...
Up your keister, as they say. Your twat, should I say? Your twat, okay? I told you this is not for kids. Don't let your kids watch this. I don't recommend them watching me because I cuss too much. And I'm actually a very shy person in person. I don't actually talk to too many people in person because, you know, from around a big crowd, it's hard to be around a lot of people. But to get my point across, anybody who defends Nicki Minaj, you must be for that whole Trumpkin thing, right? You're all about child abuse. You're all about freeing people that belong in prison. I mean, Nicki Minaj has family members in prison for hard time. Whatever the hell they're doing. And you expect them to come out of prison? I mean, there's people in prison already that need to be out. That we know of that need to be out. You know, why do you put people in prison when they do drugs? Why do you put people in prison when they're drunk? Why do you put people in prison when they steal? Okay, don't you think that the reason why they're drinking, their life is miserable as it is? Or there's stuff going on, or, you know, how do you know somebody didn't, like, lace them with something? Or, you know, I'm not trying to make excuses, but my whole point is put their asses in fucking rehab for 6 months. 3 months, 2 months, however long it takes for them to get clean. You do know stealing is an addiction. There's a reason why people steal. It's because either they need that stuff badly or they're just doing it because other people are telling them it's okay to do it.
There's actually known fact it is an addiction.
Yeah, it can be an addiction. People can be kleptos. You never know. It's been happening for centuries.
They're called hoarders.
Put people that, the big R word, rape. Probably can't say that on YouTube, but this is not a kids channel, is it? Now, if people have been sexually assaulted, people that have been murdered by these other people, well, these other people need to be in prison, okay? Do you understand now? And also those idiots out there that think America is a country.
America is an amalgamation of countries.
I think that Bunnie had it correct. I know he had it correct in his Super Bowl halftime. I saw his the halftime video.
You should turn it into a bullpen, you know what I'm saying?
I'm like, damn, that dude was partying, like, woohoo, you know, like, He even mentioned that America is a continent. He also mentioned there's North, South, and Central. I keep saying this over and over in comments, either on Facebook, Instagram, here, I was going to say YouTube, but this is YouTube, so I can't say the name because I'm already on it. I like to be funny sometimes, so that way I can get more subscribers. I appreciate people that subscribe to me, I really do, because I'm all open about different things. There's people that want to hate on others, and there's people that are like, no, we don't need hate. This is for people that don't need to be hated on. Have your own opinion. But if you're coming into my chats on here and you're starting to hate on me, you better expect me to make comments about it, because I will stand up for what I believe in. I'm not religious. And it's okay not to be religious. I'm more spiritual, stuff like that. But then there's people in the religious community that are like knocking people because they're part of the LGBTQ community, or their family members are, or what color their skin, what they look like, what they dress. I mean, I don't know why these people that are maggots knocking people that are not for Trumpkin, because I've noticed the people that are not for Trumpkin, they know how to dress. Now, for example, have you noticed the women that follow him? They all have the same damn haircut. They all wear the same ugly ass clothes. I'm not kidding. It's like, yeah, with the wrong colors. They're blue and red. Like, if you hate Democrats so much, why the hell are you wearing blue? Why don't you wear all red? Oh, why? Because you look like you're part of the Ku Klux Klan.
No, it makes them look better.
Yeah, that's it. It makes you look how you truly look, fat and ugly. And then a lot of these women, they're old, okay? They're really old. Now, they all have the same haircut. It's all short. And then I don't have a problem with women having short haircuts. But if you look at these women's hairstyles, they're the same. It's like watching The Village of the Damned. Now, if you ever watch that movie, I don't know if it's a Wes Craven movie, John Carpenter, somebody needs to correct me on that, because I need to know who did that movie. No. With Kirstie Alley on it. I can't remember the other actors' names. But these kids were all born at the same time. And they all grew to like maybe 8 years old. I don't know how old they were. But they were little evil little things. And they had blonde hair. They had blue eyes. They all dressed the same. The little girls were dressed alike just to match up with the boys. The boys were all dressed the same. I showed my husband this picture of Village of the Damned, and I know we watched it like a long time ago. And then when I noticed Trumpkin and his little maggot squad, they dress just like him. The women that are with him, they dress like trash. They do. Look it up. They dress like trash.